Aesop's Fable EP78, title, The Ant Who Budgeted for Life. Scene 1, The Ant's Daily Routine. In a bustling anthill in the middle of a lush forest, there lived a wise ant named Andy. Andy was a very responsible ant, always making sure that he and his fellow ants had enough resources to get through each day. As winter approached, Andy realized that it was more important than ever to be careful with their resources. The anthill needed to be prepared, and Andy knew that managing their daily expenses was key to their survival. One morning, as Andy gathered food, he began to think, how much do we actually need to live each day? If I knew the exact cost of living, I could make sure we save enough for the entire winter. Andy decided that he would calculate the daily expenses for the anthill to ensure that they could make it through the winter without any problems. Scene 2, Calculating the Daily Expenses. Andy started by listing all the things the ants needed to survive each day. He knew that their main expenses were food, water, and the energy needed to maintain their home. Andy decided to break it down into 3 main categories. 1. Food. Each ant needed a certain amount of food to stay strong. Andy knew that on average, each ant consumed about 1 grain of food per day. 2. Water. The ants also needed water to drink. Andy calculated that each ant drank about 0.5 drops of water per day. 3. Home maintenance. The ants needed to keep their tunnels and chambers in good condition. This required energy, and Andy estimated that each ant needed the equivalent of 0.25 grains of food's worth of energy to contribute to home maintenance. There were 100 ants in the colony, so Andy calculated the daily expenses for the entire colony. Food. 100 ants times 1 grain of food equals 100 grains of food per day. Water. 100 ants times 0.5 drops of water equals 50 drops of water per day. Home maintenance. 100 ants times 0.25 grains of food, energy, equals 25 grains of food for maintenance. Andy added up these amounts to find the total daily cost. 100 grains, food, plus 50 drops, water, plus 25 grains, maintenance, equals 175 units per day, considering grains and drops as equal units for simplicity. Scene 3, Planning for the Future. Andy knew that winter could last up to 90 days, so he needed to calculate the total cost of living for the entire season. He multiplied the daily cost by the number of days in winter. 175 units per day times 90 days equals 15,750 units for the entire winter. This was a significant amount, but Andy was determined to make sure they had enough resources. He gathered the other ants and explained his calculations. We need to make sure we collect enough food, water, and energy to cover our needs for the whole winter, Andy said. If we start saving now and manage our resources carefully, we'll make it through without any trouble. The other ants agreed, and they began to work even harder, collecting food and storing water. Andy also suggested that they find ways to conserve energy and reduce their daily costs, such as by sharing tasks more efficiently and using less energy for home maintenance. Scene 4, A Well-Managed Winter. As winter set in, the ants followed Andy's plan carefully. They stuck to the daily budget, ensuring that they only used 175 units per day. Whenever they found extra food or water, they stored it for emergencies. The ants worked together, and their careful management paid off. Throughout the cold months, the anthill was well supplied, and the ants remained healthy and strong. They knew exactly how much they could use each day without running out, and they felt secure knowing they had planned well. When spring finally arrived, the ants celebrated their successful winter. Andy's careful calculations had ensured that the colony had enough resources to last the entire season. The other ants praised Andy for his wisdom and leadership. "Thanks to you, Andy, we knew exactly how much we needed each day," one ant said. "Your budgeting skills saved us." Andy smiled and replied, "It's important to understand the cost of living and to plan ahead. By calculating and managing our expenses, we can make sure we're always prepared for the future." Moral of the story: understanding and managing daily expenses helps us plan for the future and ensure our needs are met. By using math to calculate and budget, we can live within our means and prepare for unexpected challenges.